Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Cavens, product manager here at Chef. And over the next hour, we're going to be talking a little bit about Chef and how we are looking at the competitive takeouts around Puppet and just sharing some good fun. We're going to wait for just a couple moments for people to jump on, and then we'll get started. All right, I'm sure there'll be some people that are coming in, so we'll get started with an introduction. Again, my name is Mark Cavens, product manager for Chef, and I also have Nishal Reddy on, who's also a part of our product team he will be talking a little bit later. As we look at an agenda of things that we'll be doing, of course, we'll be looking at an overall introduction of the state of DevOps as we look at today. We'll be talking a little bit about customer feedback around what we've seen with Puppet customers that we've had conversations with as of today. We'll go over about Chef for those folks that maybe haven't seen Chef in a while. We'll look at a demo that we'll be talking about that will, again, we'll talk about Chef, but then we'll also show the power of Chef. We'll do a quick roadmap overview around where Chef has been for the last couple of years, about what we've been working on, and again, what we're working on in the future. And then we're actually going to have a world premiere on a product here that we haven't been talking about as of yet because it's just coming out of development. So we'll be able to do a quick introduction on that new product that's coming forward, as well as leaving some time for questions that we have at the end. So first of all, we'll talk a little bit about DevOps overall. Again, most people that are coming to this webinar will know the power of DevOps today. We know that organizations work faster when they adopt a DevOps point of view. Whether you're using Chef or one of our competitive products today, you're generally seeing an uplift in how you are working with your infrastructure. And again, we've got testimonial after testimonials that say, hey, as I start to put good procedures into place, as I look at automation overall, all of that increases productivity of my staff, as well as being able to see reliability, which again, we're all in the business of looking at the reliable ability to take code from inception all the way up to actually looking at production, so that we give customer delight and that we also make sure that we are safe and secure. And again, these are some of the core tenets that Chef, as well as any of our competitors, are always looking at. But again, we like to call this out because there are a few folks that still have not looked at automation, compliance, all of the different tools that come into place when you're looking at DevOps overall. So what we've heard from Puppet customers, the reason for this webinar today is we've been hearing more and more inquiries coming from customers who are using Puppet today, and what Chef can bring to the table. Why are they coming to us? They're starting to see concerns around how they're working with Puppet today. They're seeing an increase in solutions that have bolt-on products that go into there. They're starting to see a lack of deployment options and being stuck on-prem, where maybe some of their other softwares that they're working with are starting to move into the cloud. Where they want to see that some of their updates and upgrades are getting stuck and not being able to keep the latest and greatest going for them. And again, there's methodologies in the differences between Chef and Puppet. And again, some of that static and rigid workflows are starting to not work for some of those customers. And so they've reached out to us. And again, what we're trying to do here is take a look at how we can help you and how we can help customers moving now and in the future as well. So we are Chef. If you haven't looked at us in a while, we wanted to give an opportunity around why you might consider Chef. again, we, much like our competitors as well, offer seamless compatibility throughout the DevOps journey. We are suitable for both hybrid environments as well. And what that means is some of your assets are in the cloud, some of them are on premises. We don't care where they reside. We only want to make sure that you have consistency, you have reliability, and that you can work with the way that you want to and work with the different pipelines that you might work with. We also want to make sure that you can stay up to date and compliant, and that any kind of 0-day type of problems that you might deal with can be resolved quickly. Some of the added benefits: reduced risk. We're all in the business of reducing risk today, and we want to make sure that that we provide you services that will help you do that, that can help you move faster, safer, and make sure that everything that you're doing is tested before it goes out to production. We don't want to ever have to see something like, well, it worked well on my machine, but it didn't work well over here. We want the flexibility to be put for all of your services today. And we want you to be able to scale in that flexibility without having to keep throwing hardware at the problem. We want to decrease downtime and overall costs for your services. And then, of course, we want to lower any kind of friction that you might be seeing today. We do that through looking at the common use cases that our customers come to us with. If I was to have an individual conversation with each of you today, I would be willing to bet that 90% of the use cases that you see on the screen here would be the first things that you would be asking me. How do you stay consistent? How do you remediate drift? How do you work with hybrid clouds? All of these questions come pretty regularly when we're talking individually to customers, and they're always asking, how do we do this? The first way that we do this is with a complete set of tools built in so that you can work with all of the things that Chef has to offer without having to add in any additional tools later on. So we'll go over some words that will come into here, like infra or a DSM, inspect, node management, courier. These are the individual products that help you achieve your goals. But inside of there, they all start to talk together to make Chef one particular platform that allows you for that authentication, monitoring, allow you to scale, and then, of course, add both the reliability and the security that you set forth. The first thing is to talk about the bread and butter. Infrastructure management. How do you keep confidence through code while managing all of your different systems and eliminate that drift and minimize vulnerability and stay flexible at the same time? You do that through what we would call Chef infrastructure management, working with policy as code and allowing yourself to work across policies and OSs, and then also into your hybrid strategies, but making sure that a configuration is consistent across all of those ecosystems. The key benefits of that is develop, test, enforce the state as you move forward, and then, of course, keep everything in compliance and security so you don't have to spend the end of the year and spend over a half a month trying to get all of your security audits and everything put into place. Continue to develop, continue to test, enforce that statement, verify that everything is going through and that your compliance and security is staying up to date. And a lot of this, what we'll talk about, and as we'll show in the demo, is not all tests are created the same. We want to make sure that we move beyond unit tests and that we actually go into making sure that both the code is complete and that there are no inconsistencies when we actually deploy that code later on. Staying compliant. We want to make sure that everything is compliant every single day, every single minute of every single hour. We use our compliance to make sure that we clearly state what you've built locally, you can test locally, and then you can verify up depending on where your nodes are. They might be in the cloud, they might be on-prem, wherever they are at. The specific rules that you need to be put into place allow you to be done throughout Chef in one tool and make it so that you can find issues and you can work through those issues quickly. How chef compliance helps. Again, write once, define, monitor, and then remediate as you're working with your code and with your systems overall. It allows you to detect problems, verify that you have fixes for those problems, and then remediate them and move on to the next task that you have to work with. How do you do things on the fly? How do you do things in a scheduled way that things are going through? Chef job orchestration is where we work with any type of action on whatever type of infrastructure that you need at any time that you need it, whether it's an interval-based change or it's a scheduled-based change that you need to make at certain times. We don't leave things to chance, and we constantly, again, develop, test, and verify as we're working through. Working through the orchestration capabilities allow us to work within all of the other capabilities that we have without having to bolt on any other tools and without having to go through and have additional modules that are added on later as you're working. So it's all built in so that you can work everything together, and again, have things run at a scheduled time or have them run ad hoc and on the fly. Now, if you want to see how this actually looks in action, you can go to our chef.io page, specifically look for products on the Chef 360 platform, and you actually run through a virtual tour of how job scheduling can work today. This is available today for anybody that wants to take that virtual tour. You're able to do that and be able to see what job scheduling actually looks like. Flexibility in how you maintain the infrastructure code that manages your infrastructure. We see more and more where customers are wanting to move to the cloud and not have to maintain the, in our particular case, Chef. Chef SaaS has been available in various different forms for the past 10 years. We know how to manage Chef. We have literally thousands of customers that have been running on Chef SaaS over the last 10 years. We've seen a reduction in operational costs because of that. So you can have folks focus on doing jobs instead of managing hardware and software over top of what they're trying to do. You can also see a faster time to value as you're working with your different workloads and still be able to do that multi-environmental support like you're used to with Chef on-prem. And then upgrade seamlessly because we do the upgrades. We do updates, upgrades. As a new version of Chef will come up, we update Chef SaaS going into there. And then you get to take advantage, again, of all of the different Chef products that we offer in the cloud for no real operational increase in what you're doing today. So the quick recap. Chef allows you to maintain consistency, secure and keep infrastructure compliant, scale easily, either on-prem by doing things yourself, or also working with our software as a service version of Chef, and then change safely. The change safely is actually what we'll be doing today as we're working with an instance of testing. So we spend a little bit of time now talking about how we can do something and talking about it. What we want to do is we actually want to show using Test Kitchen, how do we test effectively? And what we'll do is we'll do a verification versus prediction type of test. The scenario that we're going to be setting up here is we're going to attempt to install a package, in this case Nginx, on a system where a conflicting service is already running on port 80. When you take a look at the Puppet and how Puppet unit test works, you'll see that the unit test will pass because Nginx does get installed. It checks that the catalog is there. What it doesn't check for is the port conflict. As a result, what you'll have is that the system itself will not render any type of page. You won't be able to see anything running through Apache and so on and so forth. With Chef and Test Kitchen, what you'll be able to see at this point in time is not only do we test but we also go through and create a ephemeral virtual machine. Then we will actually build a replica of what the environment will look like, see that the service will fail in this particular case because of the port 80 conflict, and then be able to run what we call a test kitchen verify that will help us describe the port 80, allow the two services to no longer be in conflict, and then of course render a page. So we're going to do this in 2 separate videos. It's going to take no more than about 4 minutes to show how this looks, and we'll start off with the Puppet version of this particular side. So for anybody who's ever worked with Puppet today, you'll be able to see some of the calls where you're using RSpec, and at that point in time, you'll be able to take a look at the installation that was going to happen, and using the Puppet test to verify that that things are going. Now, again, we do see that it comes back with a nothing is listening on port 80, but we know that this is not particularly the case because we have Apache is up and running, and it's also running on port 80. So the tests will all complete, but you will get an interrupt in this particular case. Now, this is a relatively simple test, and inside of here, more than likely wouldn't take you more than a couple of minutes in order to debug exactly what was going on. But seeing that you have passed tests and you have no failures, but you're getting into the fact that you can't actually run the thing, is increasing the time that you have to take that you could be doing other things. What we will end up having when we take a look at the chef side of things is a little bit different result. When we look at the chef, what we'll first have to do is we'll first have to do a chef kitchen create. And when we do that, oh, sorry about that, went a little bit faster here than I meant to. When we do the kitchen create, it does increase our time for testing by about 40 seconds as we're creating the virtual environment. But creating that virtual environment allows us to go through and actually see how things would be running in production without having to push the code first to know what is going on. We can build an ephemeral version of the environment, and from there be able to actually run the test. We also use chef spec that is not shown on the screen here, which was again our version of unit testing. But what we're doing inside of here using Test Kitchen is to go beyond that and to actually look at how is this going to deploy without having to deploy it on a production system, take systems down, possibly have any kind of problems. And then once we're done building the environment and we are running the test, the last thing that we'll do is a chef verify. The chef verify will go through and make sure that, hey, if there are multiple systems that are talking onto the same port, let's resolve that issue so we can get back to what we actually want to do, which is to host the page on a particular web server. In this particular case, it's a relatively simple expectation. But again, seeing that all of the tests successfully run through, we should be able to rather quickly go through and actually serve the page. And at the point in time that we serve the page, we should be able to see it come up and know that both Apache and Nginx are no longer in conflict. So a relatively, again, simple test working with Test Kitchen, but we have a lot more examples. As a handout that we will give after this webinar is over, we'll give out a handout that shows additional benefits that you can see out of Test Kitchen, along with 7 other examples where we see value of Test Kitchen over top of something bigger than just unit testing. For those customers that may want to try a trial in the future, we'll also give you a step-by-step guide on exactly how to set up Test Kitchen and how to run through 2 additional use cases where you can show value to stakeholders of going, here's why we want to go with a deeper test than just a unit test. Take a moment here just to pause. As we're starting to work into the next section, we're starting to look into the future. As we look into the roadmap and what Progress Chef is working on today, some of this information that we're providing may or may not be done exactly in the quarters that we're talking about, but it's more of a guide to show how we're moving forward into the future. And then again, after looking at the roadmap is when I will hand things over to Nishal, and he'll be able to go through and do his demo of some of the new exciting stuff that we're working on now. So we take a little look back in 2024 and 2025 as we were building into what we call Courier, which is also our job scheduling and the platform that it's based upon, which is called Chef 360. Inside of the last quarters of 2025, we've been working on what we call our declarative state management server. This manages, this is equal to a lot of what we've been doing with our configuration management since Chef first got started, adding a more robust version of that into our Chef 360 platform to help universalize everything that we're doing for both job scheduling, compliance, as well as the infrastructure management. And as we move forward, we're working more on enhancements into the Chef 360 platform around compliance, and then also looking into making improvements on the supermarket, which again, the supermarket is our collection of both user as well as curated cookbooks and other policy type files that are available for our customers to use. And then as we start to look into 2027 is where we really start to look at adding even more value, not only with just what Chef brings, but with what some of our other Progress software offerings are integrated all together. So we have What's Up Gold, we have Loadmaster, and all of those coming in and combining into a system where you can not only look at your DevOps and infrastructure, but also looking at your network mapping, and many other things as we look into the future. So at this point in time, I'm going to hand things over to Nishal, who's going to talk a little bit about another product that we are working on right now that is soon coming to the market.
Thank you, Mark. I'll share my screen. I hope you can see my screen.
Yep, we can see now.
Okay. So thanks a lot, Mark. Provided a good overview on how Chef can help, DevOps teams, get into and managing their infrastructure. So I'll be talking about a new solution that we're working on. It's called OpsSmith. So OpsSmith is a tool that can help you go from your operational intent to automation script in minutes. This can help you in your DevOps journey, not just for the DevOps teams who are trying to adopt DevOps practices, but also for teams that have existing tools. Let's say, for example, you already use Chef or you already use Puppet. You'll be able to leverage and benefit out of using OpsSmith. For existing Chef customers, OpsSmith will be able to generate cookbooks or upgrade cookbooks from older versions to new versions. For teams that are using Puppet, if you want to transition to Chef, you can upload your Puppet modules, and it will be able to convert those modules into Chef cookbooks for you. Not just that, if you write any Bash or PowerShell scripts for day-to-day automation, OpsSmith will be not only able to generate automation scripts for you, but you can also use the same tool to then deploy those scripts onto your infrastructure. And OpsSmith is actually an integral part of Chef 360 platform, Chef platform. So if you're going to adopt Chef, or if you're already using Chef, eventually you'll get OpsSmith as a native tool inside the Chef ecosystem. And it works really well with all the Chef components. And this is how it works. So You can describe your operational intent or your tasks in natural language, and then the OpsSmith agent will be able to assess and analyze your prompts, and it will be able to then generate automation script. It doesn't just stop at generating automation script, but it can also test the scripts in a sandbox environment, make sure that the script works, and if it fails for any reason, it is going to correct the script and then revalidate them, and it'll give you a working script. And then you can take that automation script and deploy it onto your infrastructure. And OpsSmith supports different kinds of automation scripts. It's, like I said, it supports Bash and PowerShell scripts, and it also supports Chef cookbook generation and inspect profile generation. And we are also expanding to add more infra as code too. So at this point, I'm going to quickly switch my screen and play a quick video that provides a good high-level overview of the product. So
AI is the talk of the town, and for good reasons, too. For IT ops and DevOps, the real promise of AI is just beginning to unfold, with enormous potential. Most AI tools are generic and not specifically tailored for operations teams. Sure, they can create scripts, but unlike developer code, automation code isn't easily tested or validated. Add managing remote machines to the mix, and the complexity multiplies. Plus, many lack an integrated end-to-end workflow for ops teams. At Progress Chef, we aim to utilize AI to simplify and streamline work for IT ops and DevOps. Now, DevOps practitioners simply instruct the system in plain language. AI interprets the instructions, tests, and refines the solution for optimal results. This dramatically reduces the time and expertise needed to automate infrastructure change. AI also streamlines modernization. It can help organizations manage hundreds or thousands of cookbooks. With a few clicks, legacy cookbooks are migrated to new Chef versions, minimizing manual effort and errors, speeding deployments. But that's not all. Existing Puppet manifests can be automatically transformed into Chef cookbooks, allowing organizations to modernize their operations while avoiding the significant time, expense, and potential risks that come with performing a manual migration. The future is evolving rapidly. Some of these capabilities are already in use in customer POCs, empowering customers to innovate faster and smarter. With AI, tomorrow's automation begins today.
all right. I hope that the short clip gave you a good overview on how the product works. I'll switch back to sharing my slides again. So right now, OpsSmith is in early access phase. If you are interested to try this out, please visit opsmith.ai, and you'll be able to join our early access program. So with that, I'll hand it over to Mark to conclude the session. I think there is some technical issue with my colleague Mark, so I'll probably take it over. So to conclude, Chef delivers stable, innovative, and future-ready automation. And to address any of your Puppet's post-acquisition challenges, we provide a robust and integrated platform that can help seamlessly transition from Puppet to Chef and get all the operational excellence that you would get out of Chef DevOps platform. As next step, don't just let us tell you what about Chef, but you can actually see it live. So if you want to learn more on how Chef can help in your DevOps journey, you can visit chef.io and reach out to us, and we'll be happily able to help you get onboarded to the tool, try it out, and we can be part of your DevOps journey.
Awesome. So thank you for that. Unfortunately, some technical difficulties there at the end, but I seem to be back. And yes, thank you for that great conclusion. At this point in time, what we'd like to do is make sure that there are no questions that are coming about. If there are, then we can answer those questions. You should see in the lower right-hand side of the webinar, any questions that you might have, you can post into there, and we'll be able to see those and answer those. So we can take a good 5-10 minutes and answer any questions that you have. We can start those questions as of right now. One of the questions that I see coming up in the chat right now is is the move from on-prem to SaaS. So we've seen many customers that have done this internally with Chef. Typically, we can provide a guide that will allow you to move from all the things that you will need to be able to move from on-prem to SaaS. And we also have a journey guide that we can provide that will give you that look as to what your journey will look like from moving from Puppet to Chef as well, and some of the things to think about as you're going through there. Any plans to create Chef content for DISA, STIGs, or any other compliance frameworks? We do have curated content that we work right now. I can take this as a feedback specifically for DISA. I believe that there are some, but again,
I'll be sharing a link. I'll be responding to that question with a link, and that link has all the compliance content, Chef content that we support, and DISA and STIG is supported for a wide range of operating systems, including Red Hat, Enterprise Linux, Windows, Oracle Linux, and Ubuntu, and so on and so forth. So I'll just send a link directly as a response to that question.
Thank you. Yeah, I knew that we had a lot of different content there. I was not specific on the DISA side of things. So going into there, the next questions that are coming out on Test Kitchen, we did, again, the question that's being asked inside of there is, do you have other examples that you'll be working on? And we do have additional examples that we'll have in a handout that we can post to everybody who came on to the webinar today, that will give examples, a little bit deeper information around Test Kitchen. And then again, typically the top 7 use cases that we see working with Test Kitchen today. And then again, for anybody who wants to do a trial, we actually have a guided walkthrough that you'll be able to do that will give you additional step-by-step instructions on how to do 2 additional workloads. That way you can see exactly what it takes to set up Test Kitchen as well as run it. Awesome. Well, if there's no other questions, then we can close up the webinar for today. Again, feel free to reach out to us if you have any additional questions. We should be able to answer any of those questions for you. And as well, if you're looking to do trials, please reach out to us. We do have a trial form that's set up on our webpage that we can provide to customers as well of the Puppet versus Chef. There's sign-up pages on there. And we also have the links that can take you to the virtual tours that we showed today. And again, expect some more information to come out to us post the webinar. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. Hope you have a great rest of your week and hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.